in a lot of effort to make this a reality. Just to touch upon the objectives of the FNDC, maybe a lot of you hear about the FNDC, but nobody knows actually what the objectives of the FNDC is. So the FNDC was set up to actually set policies and strategies governing the state's capital market, develop and design plans and programs to develop the financial market in Qatar, to also coordinate between different government authorities that are involved in the development of the financial industry, and supervise the implementation of financial market policies, strategies, and plans, review feasibility studies for projects, and study financial benefits for proposed projects, and communicate to the relevant bodies on the recommendation results and propose solutions for the development of the financial market. So this is actually a forum that includes very high-profile individuals in the financial sector in the state of Qatar. And this is where this initiative of Taddreb was actually launched, discussed, approved, and agreed upon. To talk a little bit about the training regime, allow me to elaborate on a couple of points. First, why the quality of human capital is of particular importance to the financial services industry. Second, why in today's environment it matters more than ever before. And finally, third, why training and competency standards and regimes are a key success factor for Qatar as an emerging financial center. Financial firms such as wealth managers and insurance provide intangible services whose benefits, as a rule, can only be assessed by customers after concluding respective contracts and entrusting funds or making premium payments to these providers. This is why the quality of companies' financials and human capital is the most important consideration for existing and prospective customers when selecting a bank or an insurer as an example. Whereas a company's financial strength can be assessed on the basis of ratings and analyst reports, customers usually form an opinion on the quality of the company's staff based on direct interaction and experience. Therefore, the way of a company's employee sell its product, offer after-sales services, and manage financial, operational, and compliance risk is arguably the biggest single determinant of the firm's franchise and its ability to command a premium on market prices based on superior customers' trust and market reputation. Now, against this backdrop, the hard and soft qualifications of their staff is naturally on the top of the agenda of any management team and board of directors seeking to maximize a company's sales and revenues while carefully managing and mitigating the association risks of doing business. Now, the experience and aftermath of the global financial crisis of 2007 and 2008 has further added to the importance of employee training and the development of appropriate competencies as an important factor which helps keep employees and organizational goals aligned. Customer and regulatory scrutiny have reached unprecedented levels following a series of high-profile public bailouts and mis-selling scandals. Just think of the UK banking sector, for example. In the post-crisis environment, the corporate margin of error has in the post-crisis environment, the corporate margin of errors has clearly reduced. Regulatory requirements have multiplied. At the same time, the array of products and services keeps expanding, with customers becoming even more assertive. Financial services providers have to ensure that they, employees from tellers in small regional banks to senior executives at large investment firms, to remain in compliance with relevant regulations and to put customers' interests first. Therefore, despite tight budgets, far-sighted financial services firms around the globe have stepped up the training programs delivered to their employees, ranging from sales training, anti-money laundering, budget management, to cash flow management. Now, having said this, investing in training and staff competencies is more than a response to current challenges. It has always been and will continue to be an important driver of financial performance. Empirical studies from a number of countries suggest that companies that encourage consistent employee learning and development perform better in a range of categories than those that do not. For example, some of the business advantages that result from ongoing skill development include higher employee productivity and customer satisfaction and market leadership for at least one product or service. Ladies and gentlemen, training and competency regimes are of particular importance to a rapidly growing financial services marketplace such as Qatar. Building customer awareness and confidence is a prerequisite to capturing the market's potential. Companies may find their growth momentum short-lived if appropriate staff qualifications responding to and complementing regulatory requirements are not put in place. Emerging markets are even more vulnerable than mature ones to the actions of a handful of poorly regulated and run providers that can undermine consumer trust, leading to adverse reputation effects for all providers that may take years to overcome. As you know, the development of a vibrant financial services sector in Qatar is a key pillar of the government's long-term economic diversification strategy. Financial services currently accounts for 11% of Qatar's GDP, and we all would like to see this ratio increase further. Whether our efforts are successful or not will very much depend on the skills and competencies profile of the sector employees. Let's summarize. The financial industry and the business of trust. The behavior of employees determines whether trust is built, maintained, or destroyed. This makes training and competency development so vital for the industry, in particular in the post-crisis environment of heightened customer and regulatory scrutiny. For Qatar, as an emerging financial services market, the qualifications of employees matters greatly, not just in terms of promoting customer awareness and trust, but also as a vehicle for strengthening the sustainability of the market's growth trajectory. Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much for your speech. Now for the project presentation, I would like to welcome Stephen Anderson, followed by Shino, please.
Thank you, we'll probably do a little double act, I guess, just to I'll start with a quick introduction. So my name's Stephen Anderson. I'm the managing partner for PwC, based here in Doha, so I'm pretty familiar with all things Qatar. Prior to being here, I spent 15 years in London working across the financial services sector, so I think to echo Yusuf's point, I'm here to tell you what not to do, not necessarily what to do from a risk management perspective. That's part of our role. And during that time, I spent a lot of time with Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, and a number of the banks running training competency frameworks. I indeed spent a fair deal of time in the Far East when we introduced training and competency to Singapore. So again, we'll bring some of the best practice that we learned there in Singapore, and I think, as Abdul Aziz says, some of the lessons learned from Singapore as well, in terms of how that plays out. But first of all, I just want to say we're honoured to be supporting the FNDC with this, so both in terms of the QFC, the QFMA, and the QCB, bringing that together. Do you want to do a quick intro?
Sure, thank you. I'm Madhukar Shenoy. I'm a partner based in Bahrain. I lead the financial services regulatory advisory initiatives across the Middle East, and I've worked with many of you in Doha as well. I'm leading the project at the moment with the help of you and Steve and Steve around me.
Perfect. Okay. We'll get into a little bit of the detail in a moment. I guess from my perspective, part of the reason we're so honoured to be working on this programme is how important it is to the development of Qatar. I think Abdurrahman and Yusuf have spoken well on the benefits that will come from that. And I think one of the main messages we put here, and as a consultant, I'm kind of have the right to say this in this environment. This programme's success will be very much driven by the ability to leverage the great work that has already been undertaken by a number of the financial institutions here in Doha around training, competency, and your understanding around capabilities within your institutions and where things will go well. And I think this is a project where we will be borrowing your watch to tell you the time, but I think that's a key part of building out a fit-for-purpose training and competency regime. Can we just skip on? Does that kind of work? So just very briefly, I kind of wanted to touch on what I saw as the key benefits that we're trying to get to from the programme, and then I'll pass to Manuka to talk through the detail. That's always my the ability to have as the managing partner. So first of all, from an overall perspective, this is very much key in the delivery, obviously, the 2030 vision, and really, as Abdurrahman pointed out, moving from hydrocarbon economy to a knowledge-based economy, the ability to deliver, to have competency and training developments in the financial services sector. And I think I'd use my own firm as an example of that, where Qatar should go. I spent last week consulting to a firm in Beirut, and the week before consulting to a firm in London on financial services being based here in Doha. I think I'm probably the first person in sort of known history to be based in Doha and working in Beirut, and there's clearly an opportunity to have Doha as a genuine hub, and obviously as the banks and the insurers and increasingly asset managers use Doha as a base across the region, then one thing you'll need to do in terms of growing value from that growth agenda is the ability to build talent here, to export that talent, and to be able to drive real benefit from the expansion plans that the banks and financial institutions have both here in Doha, across the region, and increasingly internationally. So we see the training competency regime very much underpinning a sort of dynamic framework that could move as the financial sector evolves. Obviously, we'd like to get towards consistency and quality of training. I think a number of the banks have made great inroads in their own training programs in developing consistency, but it's really setting a bar across Qatar and the key to that. And the final point is around really driving competency across all staff. And I think the big shift that I've seen in my 4 years in Doha, and Abdurrahman alluded to this, that Qatar spent a lot of time importing talent. I think now it's become mature and it's time to start developing our own talent, and this is a very important stepping stone in that process, but both in terms of nationals, people who were born and raised here, and those of us who have come, have spent a good deal of time. We're increasingly seeing people having long-term careers here in Doha, and I think to echo Abdurrahman again, providing training to staff will be an integral part of retention and of development, and really setting that scene of a ability to get accredited, ability to have an internationally recognised competency in training will very much act as a retention and indeed a recruitment tool. We saw that in Singapore to very much underpin the development of Qatar's financial sector. So I'll hand to my colleague, Manuka, who will talk you through a little bit more of the detail around how the programme is going to play out.
Thanks, Steve. I mean, we talked about Qatar and its rapid growth in financial services, and you also talked about importing talent. I think what is also important is the fact that while you import talent, it's important that you have a standard framework in terms of competence that sits within financial services, in terms of training needs that need to be met to align with the competency levels expected at different different components of financial sector. So So it's important that all of this is dealt with